Welcome to Michelle's Opinions. On this episode of Michelle's Opinions, we're going to talk about gods and goddesses. Unaware. Part 1. First, we're going to go through the list of the Greek gods and goddesses. We're going to be doing them in alphabetical order to not take any preference over one to the other. And who you are and what part we all play in this gods and goddesses. So let's get to it. Let's quickly go through the Greek gods and goddesses. We're going to start with the A's, and there's 5 of them. And what I'm showing you now is a depiction of Aphrodite. And here's a depiction of Apollo. And now we're looking at a depiction of Aries. Next, we have a depiction of, Artemis. Not trying to mess up their names at all. And last but not least in the A group is Athena. Now, let's look into some of their attributes and historical mythology that goes along with each of these gods and goddesses.
Immortals. The Greeks created images of their deities for many purposes. A temple would house the statue of a god or goddess, or multiple deities, and might be decorated with relief scenes depicting myths. Divine images were common on coins. Drinking cups and other vessels were painted with scenes from Greek myths. Major gods and goddesses. Deity. Description. Aphrodite, Phi-Rho-Omicron Delta Tau Eta, Aphrodite. Goddess of beauty, love, desire, and pleasure. In Hesiod's Theogony, 188-206, she was born from sea foam and the severed genitals of Uranus. In Homer's Iliad, 5.370-417, she is daughter of Zeus and Dione. She was married to Hephaestus, but bore him no children. She had many lovers, most notably Ares, to whom she bore Harmonia, Phobos, and Deimos. She was also a lover to Adonis and Anchises, to whom she bore Aeneas. She is usually depicted as a naked or semi-nude beautiful woman. Her symbols include myrtle, roses, and the scallop shell. Her sacred animals include doves and sparrows. Her Roman counterpart is Venus 1. Apollo, Pi Lambda Lambda Omega Nu, Apollon. God of music, arts, knowledge, healing, plague, prophecy, poetry, manly beauty, and archery. He is the son of Zeus and Leto, and the twin brother of Artemis. Both Apollo and Artemis use a bow and arrow. Apollo is depicted as young, beardless, handsome, and athletic. In myth, he can be cruel and destructive, and his love affairs are rarely happy. He is often accompanied by the Muses. His most famous temple is in Delphi, where he established his oracular shrine. His signs and symbols include the laurel wreath, bow and arrow, and lyre. His sacred animals include roe deer, swans, and pythons. Some late Roman and Greek poetry and mythography identifies him as a sun god, equivalent to Roman Sol and Greek Helios too. Ares, Rhoeta, Ares. God of war, bloodshed, and violence. The son of Zeus and Hera, he was depicted as a beardless youth, either nude with a helmet and spear or sword, or as an armed warrior. Homer portrays him as moody and unreliable, and as being the most unpopular god on Earth and Olympus, Iliad 5.890-1. He generally represents the chaos of war in contrast to Athena, a goddess of military strategy and skill. Ares is known for cuckolding his brother Hephaestus, conducting an affair with his wife Aphrodite. His sacred animals include vultures, venomous snakes, dogs, and boars. His Roman counterpart Mars, by contrast, was regarded as the dignified ancestor of the Roman people. 3. Artemis, Rho Tau Epsilon Mu Iota, Artemis. Virgin goddess of the hunt, wilderness, animals, and young girls. In later times, Artemis became associated with bows and arrows. She is the daughter of Zeus and Leto, and twin sister of Apollo. In art she is often depicted as a young woman dressed in a short knee-length chiton and equipped with a hunting bow and a quiver of arrows. Her attributes include hunting spears, animal pelts, deer and other wild animals. Her sacred animal is a deer. Her Roman counterpart is Diana. 4. Athena, Theta Nu, Athena. Goddess of reason, wisdom, intelligence, skill, peace, warfare, battle strategy, and handicrafts. According to most traditions, she was born from Zeus's forehead, fully formed and armored. She is depicted as being crowned with a crested helm, armed with shield and spear, and wearing the aegis over a long dress. Poets describe her as gray-eyed or having especially bright, keen eyes. She is a special patron of heroes such as Odysseus. She is the patron of the city Athens, from which she takes her name, and is attributed to various inventions in arts and literature. Her symbol is the olive tree. She is commonly shown as being accompanied by her sacred animal, the owl. Her Roman counterpart is Minerva. 5.
As we're going through all these Greek gods and goddesses, notice that they have what we would consider, as we are judging all things, as positive attributes and negative attributes. I would say the human condition. But were known in Greek mythology as gods and goddesses. So what does that say about us? What does that say about our attributes, about the things that we do and how we behave? At the end of this part sessions of showing you all the different Greek gods and goddesses, I will be giving you guys a link to take a little test so you can find out which Greek god or goddess that you most resemble. Are we gods and goddesses that are unaware? Even in the scriptures, it says that when Jesus says, "When you see me, you see the Father." Therefore, are we not all God's children? And therefore, by being God's children, gods and goddesses in our own right? Are we the ones who are creating what is going on around us? Is this a realm where we are to learn more about ourselves and to handle our gifts, powers, and abilities in a way that goes along with universal law, where we do not impose our will upon somebody else's? Think about these things. Are there actually NPCs that are put in our path in this realm to test us, to stretch us, or to try to pull us back into the worldly ways of doing things? If you're a god or a goddess, you would know that you can create and destroy, that you have the right to choose. But where it gets a little sticky is by following universal law, which is sovereignty and not imposing your will onto others, is a lesson that I feel that we are all here to learn. And as I go through this several part series, you will learn more and more about yourself. It is my hopes that you'll learn more and more about yourself, who and what you truly are. And if you're here on this channel, You're obviously on your path of awakening to the divine being that you are, unlocking the 7 spirits of the 7 chakra, the locks, the keys, and opening up and unblocking any blockages so you can operate at full potential. No matter what this world throws at us, we are to try and take the high road, your highest self. Know who you are, and that you are just a reflection of your divine being who is still attached to you. It's just we come in with a mind wipe and we learn and we experience. And as we learn and we experience, we grow in wisdom and knowledge. And as we grow in wisdom and knowledge, then we learn that universal law is the only law that we need to follow. There are no laws of Moses or any of those things. They do not apply. Why would you bow down to anything? There's no need. That's in Scripture also. We're all brothers and sisters in this, for the good and the bad of it, in the balance of what I'm going to be displaying with all these different gods and goddesses. And I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this. I try to keep things very simple. Simple for us, very complex to someone who has no idea or has not began their refinement period, their enlightening or awakening to the divine being that you truly are. Being a divine being, even being called a child of the Most High, is a divine being. And don't forget, even in the Bible, what Christ said, when you see me, you will be just like me. So let's move on. As we're talking about the ancient mythological Greeks, god and goddesses, also touching on the 7 chakras, and universal law, which I have simplified down to just a few steps, which would complete it all for you to gain mastery. I want to share this amazing article with 7 steps in it, which coincides with what we've been talking about in this post. So I hope that you enjoy it. You guys know that always the links and everything will either be in the comments section pinned to the top or in the description box. And I do want for everybody to look into things for themselves, because that's how we grow, from learning and sharing. So I hope you guys enjoy this article, and so yeah, let's get to it.
There are 7 universal laws or principles by which everything in the universe is governed. The universe exists in perfect harmony by virtue of these laws. Ancient mystical, esoteric, and secret teachings dating back over 5,000 years from ancient Egypt to ancient Greece and to the Vedic tradition of ancient India, all have as their common thread these 7 spiritual laws of the universe. Once you understand, apply, and align yourself with these universal laws, you will experience transformation in every area of your life beyond that which you have ever dared to imagine. The immutable and the mutable, of the 7 universal laws, the first 3 are immutable, eternal laws, meaning they are absolute and can never be changed or transcended. They have always existed and will always exist. The other 4 laws are transitory, mutable laws, meaning that they can be transcended or at least better used to create your ideal reality. This is not to say that you should ignore these 4 laws or attempt to defy them, for even if you do, they will still govern your existence. Your aim is to master each of the 7 universal laws and only then learn to transcend the mutable ones. 1. The law of mentalism, immutable. The first of the 7 universal laws tells us that the all is mind, the universe is mental. That everything we see and experience in our physical world has its origin in the invisible, mental realm. It tells us that there is a single universal consciousness, the universal mind, from which all things manifest. All energy and matter at all levels is created by and is subordinate to the omnipresent universal mind. Your mind is part of the universal mind, the same in kind with the only difference being one of degree. Your reality is a manifestation of your mind. This is true mind power. 2. The law of correspondence, immutable. The second of the 7 universal laws tells us as above, so below, as below, so above. This means that there is harmony, agreement, and correspondence between the physical, mental and spiritual realms. There is no separation since everything in the universe, including you, originates from the one source. The same pattern is expressed on all planes of existence from the smallest electron to the largest star and vice versa. All is one. The ancient Greek temple of Apollo at Delphi was referring to this great law of correspondence in the inscription, "Know thyself and thou shalt know all the mysteries of the gods and the universe." 3. The law of vibration, immutable. The third of the 7 universal laws tells us that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The third and last of the immutable universal laws tells us that the whole universe is but a vibration. Science has confirmed that everything in the universe, including you, is pure energy vibrating at different frequencies. The axiom that like energy attracts like energy, upon which the law of attraction is based, has its foundation in this law. Everything that we experience with our 5 physical senses is conveyed through vibrations. The same applies to the mental realm. Your thoughts are vibrations. All your emotions are vibrations, where unconditional love, in the sense of love for another, is the highest and most subtle of the emotional vibrations, and hate is the densest and most base. You can learn to control your mental vibrations at will. This is true thought power. 4. The law of polarity, mutable. The fourth of the 7 universal laws tells us that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. It is also the first of the mutable or transcendable universal laws. It means that there are 2 sides to everything. Things that appear as opposites are in fact only 2 extremes of the same thing. For instance, heat and cold may appear to be opposites at first glance, but in truth they are simply varying degrees of the same thing. The same applies to love and hate, peace and war, positive and negative, good and evil, yes and no, light and darkness, energy and matter. You can transform your thoughts from hate to love, from fear to courage by consciously raising your vibrations. This is what in the ancient Hermetic teachings is called the art of polarization. Rising above the law of polarity, this principle of duality may appear to be very real in your life, but it operates only in the physical and mental realms, not in the spiritual realm where all is one. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, God is above the opposites. By always placing the all-powerful, all-knowing Great Spirit of which you are a part behind your every thought, statement, and action, and by always focusing on the good, even when things appear to be going bad, then in time you will rise above the law of polarity. 5. The law of rhythm, mutable. The fifth of the 7 universal laws tells us that everything flows, out and in, everything has its tides, all things rise and fall, the pendulum swing manifests in everything, the measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left, rhythm compensates. It is the second of the mutable or transcendable universal laws and means that the pendulum swings in everything. This principle can be seen in operation in the waves of the ocean, in the rise and fall of the greatest empires, in business cycles, in the swaying of your thoughts from being positive to negative, and in your personal successes and failures. In accordance with this law, when anything reaches a point of culmination, then the backward swing begins almost unnoticeably until such time that any forward movement has been totally reversed, then the forward movement begins again and the process is repeated. Rising above the law of rhythm, to transcend the swing of the pendulum, you must become aware of the subtle start of the backward movement in any of your endeavors, whether it be to improve your health, your finances, your relationships, or any goal you may set in motion. When you feel the law start to draw you back, do not become fearful or discouraged. Instead, knowing that you are one with the omnipotent universal mind for which nothing is impossible, keep your thoughts focused on your outcome and fight to remain positive no matter how far back this transitory law pulls you. Even if your efforts meet with failure, find comfort that by virtue of this very same law, the upward motion must start again. In time, your perseverance will be rewarded as the backward movements become less negative relative to your previous backward swings and you raise yourself higher. 6. The law of cause and effect, mutable. The sixth of the 7 universal laws tells us that every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. In accordance with this law, every effect you see in your outside or physical world has a very specific cause which has its origin in your inner or mental world. This is the essence of thought power. Every one of your thoughts, words, or actions sets a specific effect in motion which will come to materialize over time. To become the master of your destiny, you must master your mind, for everything in your reality is a mental creation. Know that there is nothing like chance or luck. They are simply terms used by humanity in ignorance of this law. Your intentions are instantly created. The law of cause and effect applies on all 3 planes of existence, the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. The difference is that on the spiritual plane cause and effect are instantaneous such that they appear inseparable, whereas on the other planes our concept of time and space creates a time lag between the cause and the eventual effect. Know that when you focus on your chosen goals with intention using creative visualization, that which you want to create in the physical world is automatically manifested in the spiritual world, and with perseverance, practice, and continued concentrated thought, it will also come to materialize in the physical world. 7. The law of gender, the last of the 7 universal laws, tells us that gender is in everything, everything has its masculine and feminine principles. This mutable universal law is evident throughout creation in the so-called opposite sexes found not only in human beings but also in plants, minerals, electrons, and magnetic poles, to name but a few. Everything and everyone contains both masculine and feminine elements. Among the outward expressions of feminine qualities are love, patience, intuition, and gentleness, and of masculine qualities are energy, self-reliance, logic, and intellect. Know that within every woman lie all the latent qualities of a man, and within every man those of a woman. When you know this, you will know what it means to be complete. The law of attraction as part of the equation, you will notice that the law of attraction is not specifically mentioned as one of the 7 universal laws. This is not to diminish its importance but rather to highlight it, because the law of attraction is the basic law of the universe which runs through all the 7 universal laws discussed here. It holds everything together. It is through the knowledge of the law of attraction that one can rise above the mutable laws of polarity and rhythm and gain a better understanding of each of the 7 universal laws. Credit to the science of being and the Kybalion. This article draws largely on 2 sources of incomparable wisdom on the 7 universal laws. First, on the Baron Eugene Ferson's 1923 masterpiece, The Science of Being, which is one of most comprehensive books ever written on the innate power of humanity, the subject of metaphysics and self-mastery, and second, on the 1908 seminal work on the universal principles, namely the Kybalion, which is a study of the Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece, itself based on the mystical teachings of Hermes Trismegistus and written by the so-called 3 initiates. The principles of the truth are 7, he who knows these, understandingly, possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open, the Kybalion. There are 7 major universal laws by which the entire universe is governed. 3 are immutable, eternal laws, and 4 are transitory, mutable laws. As stated in the Kybalion, the universe exists by virtue of these laws, which form its framework and which hold it together. Knowing these universal laws and the basic law of attraction, and learning how to transcend the mutable laws, is fundamental to changing the circumstances of your life so that you can consciously create your intended reality and achieve true mastery.
As we go through this series, I will be revealing more on universal law and unlocking with keys the rainbow chakra system that is inside each and every one of us to ignite that flame, that blaze of divinity that is within you, so you can become a master of what is going on around you, realizing the polarity that we've been discussing here for a very long time. Those who have experienced the lower lows, being homeless, a death in the family, losing things that are close to you, divorce, whatever the case may be, by feeling those lower lows, you're able to reach higher highs. Now, this article just went with the mind, which you have a chakra above the sacral, which is your heart, that is in the color of green. And when you get that one opened up and the love floods in with the forgiveness, then you get the blue where your voice is opened up. And then you go into the mind. And then there's there are several levels higher than the 7 that we are given here to work on. But once we've done the inner work for the 7, the higher realms open up much faster. The manifestations come much quicker. But you have to understand, when you're looking around the world and it looks like it's going chaotic, that means there's many people waking up and raising the standard of good, high, and the best for all using universal law. Okay, so let's move on. So as we have went through the alphabet of the A's for the Greek mythological gods and goddesses, we've also talked about the chakra system being the rainbow and how we need the keys to unlock each one. And as we do, new understandings of awareness and gifts open up. Also, universal law and how this affects how we co-create, manifest, how we deal with polarity, duality, and all of that wonderful information. We're going to continue on this path, going through the mythological, or are they, gods and goddesses. And again, I'm gonna link that. It's a little test that you take to find out which god or goddess that most resembles your personality traits that you have within you. So we are learning so much about what is going on within us during this awakening period. I want to do a couple channel announcements. Looks like Paula Kruger will be on sometime next week with me, so look forward to that. And gosh, there's just so much going on. I will also be releasing the next set of light code activations in Patreon probably within the first week of October, so look forward to those also. So much going on, so much to share. It is so important to me that everybody knows this very information, have this understanding about themselves, because the more of us that have this information about ourselves, the better things will become, the easier the manifestations. And it's just amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. We may see a lot of people graduating out of here. It's a time of celebration. So let's not all be really sad about it when we lose loved ones and things. Just realize they've graduated and they're on to another realm of existence. Now, I know I'm working on, most of you know, with the loss of my daughter, but Now it is my time to detangle her from this realm, and I am working on that diligently so that she can soar and fly freely as she wants, as she wills, which I'm sure she already can. But the detangling thing is something that is within my mind, and since it's in my mind, I need to take care of it, and that will bring inner peace to my heart. See how this kind of works, guys? So, yeah, always share what you know so we can all listen and grow. And I'll be sharing more of the things that I've been seeing. It's amazing, guys. It's absolutely amazing. So let's get the keys. Let's unlock all of the colorful rainbows within us. Let's move forward. We've got so much to look forward to. What a time to be alive. We are in the great awakening. What a blessing this is for everybody. We always have a choice. It's part of our sovereignty. So, with that, you guys, have yourself a great day. Patreon links are shown in the description box, and there's also a PayPal link. If you want to send a PayPal contribution, I can send you the link to the activation codes, so we can work something out that way also if you would like. But yeah, have yourself a blessed day, and I will talk to you guys soon.